60 minutes, we play Iowa State football together.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Iowa State Fan Perspective here at Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Appreciate you guys jumping in tonight as it is now week 9. We have crossed the halfway point in the college football season. I cannot believe it. And your Cyclones took the bye week to kind of regroup and look to bounce back after a 2-game road skid as they take on the BYU Cougars. If you're joining us for the first time tonight, appreciate you tuning in. My name is Jake, joined by my co-host, I should say, my brother Justin, each and every single week. Justin did a nice job last week. Appreciate him jumping on, doing a little solo episode of getting his thoughts out there for the Colorado loss. I had to take a vacation from my vacation. I was glad to be out in Colorado for another week after that absolute debacle in Boulder, to just kind of look at the mountains and kind of get a fresh, positive outlook heading into a giant game in Jack Trice Stadium this Saturday, as we will jump into the BYU preview here in a second. Appreciate you guys joining in tonight. Justin, how we doing? I know you got all your thoughts out there last week. Appreciate you doing that so we can just talk BYU strictly tonight. But we kind of ready to turn the page. We're ready to get back in Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday.
Absolutely. I was a little hesitant, after the Colorado game. I was a little nervous that we had a bye just because of all the things that were going on, coming off the 2-game losing streak, the coaching rumors, all these different things. I thought the bye week was kind of not necessarily going to be a good thing, because I didn't want us to sit there and ruminate on things. And I personally wasn't the most optimistic, so I didn't want to sit there and get down on myself either. But I think it was good to kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, kind of see the landscape. And, this past weekend, a lot of things broke well for Iowa State. A little more optimism coming into this week. Hopefully a little bit of guys got healthy for us. And got a huge opportunity at Jack Trice this Saturday now.
Week 8 was awesome. It was awesome for a few different reasons. One, the door, it was not, the bye week kind of fell at a good time. The door kind of creaked open just a little bit as far as Iowa State's hopes and aspirations for the rest of the season goes. If you're a BYU Cougars fan, you're probably still living sky high after winning an awesome rivalry game, as well as Texas Tech goes down, shakes up the Big 12 a little bit. You had Miami losing Friday night. It was nice to just enjoy the chaos and not have Iowa State to be a part of it. So that way, me and you, I know we were at a wedding Saturday night together for some family, but we kind of sat there Saturday night and kind of soaked it all in. And we're like, wow, this week was awesome. And thank God we didn't have another Iowa State loss on top of it. So I think you're right. I think the bye week did come at a really good time.
Yeah, I can't believe that you said it's week 9 already. So Iowa State's been doing this for 10 weeks already. We're already that many weeks into it. It kind of feels like it. I know Iowa State had their first basketball scrimmage this weekend. A lot of people's attention was kind of turning to that. Just really tired, it kind of felt like. And now, if we can go out and get a win this Saturday, the energy is going to shift right back with a lot of opportunity still in front for this team.
I think a part of that too is the second bye week before November even comes along. It didn't feel like that long ago. Iowa State just had a bye week, and that's what you get for playing in the week 0 game. And also, do you remember, this has to be the longest length in time that Iowa State has gone without a home game. We're going on now, by Saturday, it'll be 4 weeks since that Arizona game. It feels a long time ago since this team was in Jack Trice Stadium.
Yeah. And how long? It's been a while now in the Campbell era that we've gone this long without a win.
Yeah, I guess you throw the bye week on top of it.
3 weeks potentially. If we lose this Saturday, it's going to be a month since their last win, with Arizona State coming to town. So it's a huge game for Iowa State on Saturday.
That's a really good way to put it. So let's kind of jump into it. Let's get to it right away. I know our episodes usually go 45 minutes, 50 minutes long. This one might be shorter, and some of you might enjoy it more, since we're just let's get into the BYU preview. But as always, you guys know the deal if you listen to us each and every single week. Before we jump into all of that, we got to give our shout out to all of our previews, are partnered by our friends at shopnorivals.com. No Rivals, the best hats in collegiate sports. I am rocking the alma mater hat. Justin, rocking the Bugle logo each and every single week. That's probably still my favorite. I do like the triangle one. If you're watching us here on YouTube, I do love that triangle design that recently came out. And if you're a BYU fan, They got your hats too at Shop No Rivals. So this is a no rivals game. I always love it when we get both sides of the fan bases are covered by our friends at shopnorivals.com. Use the code PTFS, play the fight song at checkout for free shipping. And then if you're a BYU fan, or if you're an Iowa State fan joining us for the first time, if you guys give us a score prediction, who's going to win on Saturday, and you give us an actual score prediction, you go 2 for 2. Hit it on the dot. It's been done before. We will get you guys a hat at shopnorivals.com of your choosing. But last but not least, you have to be subscribed to the channel. So subscribe today. Give us your comment below on what you think the result will be for Saturday's 2:30 kick. We will get you guys covered at shopnorivals.com. So shout out to those guys each and every single week. The best hats in collegiate sports. All right, Justin. It's time to talk BYU. BYU Cougars, the now lone undefeated team in the Big 12. Feels weird to say after we didn't think Texas Tech was going to lose a game. I don't think I was alone in saying that. I thought they were going to run the table. And now BYU stands as the only undefeated team left in the Big 12, ranked 11th in the AP poll. And they are coming off, it's got to be one of the bigger wins in the last few years for this program. And I know that last year they had a really awesome season. They were, what was it? 9-0, I think, heading into that giant game down in Tempe where they fell to Arizona State. And this one feels as big as it's ever been. Winning the Holy War, being an underdog at home. Hand up, I had Utah. A lot of us here at Play the Fight Song had Utah pretty much almost unanimously in that win. I think Cam was the only one who picked BYU to win this one. And it was just kind of a crazy game, but BYU controlled most of it. I know Utah took the lead late. I think that was in the fourth quarter when they went up 14-10. But a muff punt and an interception by Utah turned into 10 points for the Cougs. Utah was super aggressive, like from the jump, first possession. They went for it on fourth down in their own red zone numerous times, but they ended up going only 1 for 5 on fourth downs, and that's probably what cost them the game the most, as well as an interception that Utah had, but was called back by a whole defensive holding penalty. Justin, I know, like I said before, we were at the wedding Saturday night. I know you mentioned it. You're like, I got to go back and watch this game too to really get the full grasp of things. I did as well. What was your initial takeaways from the win on Saturday, or just kind of BYU up to this point?
Yeah, I think this game was really interesting just because of how big it was for BYU, not in a sense that like Utah was a top 10 team or anything like that, but BYU did come into this game as an underdog. And like you said, a lot of us kind of counted them out. And the way that Utah played, it kind of felt like Utah was counting them out as well, going for it on fourth down 5 times. I think they thought they were just going to come into this game, come into a rival's stadium in a night game and kind of push them around. I know we're going to kind of break down BYU's play style here in a little bit, but they're really reliant on the run. And I don't think that Utah thought BYU was going to have the level of success that they did. And I don't think they respected BYU's defense enough. So now, like, after this showing, it's kind of crazy to see that Iowa State's a favorite against BYU this weekend, because they kind of showed that their strengths are legit. They kind of got to win a certain way, but they're really tough to beat.
I always think Iowa State has a chip on our shoulder. I know we talked about it numerous times this year, Justin. Like, take the Cincinnati game for an example. Iowa State was the undefeated team, top 15 team, heading on the road to Cincinnati, who was unranked at the time. Similar spot where BYU was in. Iowa State was the underdog in that spot. Colorado was a close spread. And then Vegas was both correct there. But even like Arizona, the game came down to a 2.5-point spread before Iowa State won by 20. So I think Iowa State and BYU can both relate that the power ratings don't necessarily love each of these programs, but the fan bases and I think these teams love to play with a chip on their shoulder, and it's worked in BYU's favor. Now back-to-back years, we're just going to call it how it is. Now this is the second straight year in a row where these two programs felt really, really similar. Both started 7-0 last year. It felt like the ball bounced both of their ways. I'm talking Iowa State and BYU. And now, coming into this season, both teams were projected outside of the top. Like, Iowa State was what, 5th, I think, preseason Big 12, and BYU, after the Retzlaff situation, was 8th, 9th, somewhere in that mark.
Their over-under was like 6.5.
Yeah, and
They've
now
already cleared it.
we fast forward 10 weeks later, And this team, BYU, the ball keeps bouncing their way and they're winning these close games. And Iowa State hasn't capitalized on what they've won in close games the last 2 weeks. So this is really, really fascinating to see both of these teams collide in Ames on Saturday and kind of see where the ball bounces this week.
Yeah, I like that you touched on that with the comparison of these two teams, because something that I'm going to touch on more in our breakdown and something I kind of touched on last week, breaking down Iowa State, is that I think we've kind of gotten away from our strengths a little bit and kind of lost our identity as a team, trying to do too much. This BYU team might have one of the strongest identities in football, and they have not slowed down like these close games. Like they've, just like Iowa State, like we said the last year, I thought we had a really strong identity. You get in these close games, you trust your guys, you trust your coaching staff out there, and it's credit to Kalani Sitake and this BYU team winning 17 of their last 19 games. Just think of the last time Iowa State played BYU when we went out to Provo. You were there, obviously.
Yep.
We were a little nervous playing a night game out in Provo, but Iowa State just kind of dog walked them out there. And like, to see where this program's come from that in the last 2 years, only dropping 2 games, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it just builds to the character of this football team and what Kalani Sitake is as a head coach. Just a positive guy, and he like never. I remember after that Iowa State game, I was vocal about it. I was like, is the Sitake era, like, has it kind of ran its course as they kind of go into the Big 12 now? Like, I don't think this is feasible. And he's proved everybody wrong, because this team, while their identity is to run the football, I'm just thinking here, I think this will be the best defense Iowa State will see in the regular season. Now, whatever they see in the bowl game or whatever that looks like, we'll wait and see. But statistically, this defense is just rock solid. 11th in third down defense nationally, 20th in first down defense nationally, 8th in red zone defense, 9 interceptions this year. That ranks, I think I looked it up, was at least top 20. And this defense just gets after you. We're going to do players to watch in a second here. But this defense, I think it's better than Iowa. Iowa was the only team that I was like, is Iowa the best defense we've seen this year? Maybe now, but at least when Iowa State saw them in early September, I would still probably take this BYU defense up until this point. And they're really, really good. You mentioned to Justin, Utah came out like they were like the big brother. They were going to flex their muscles, and they kept going for it on fourth down. And they said it over the broadcast. Utah was the best third down offense in the country. What they didn't realize is how good BYU is on third and fourth downs. And they bent a little, but they never broke. And they were rock solid the entire time. And Utah paid the price for it. I think that was kind of the biggest difference, was Utah really trying to take what was theirs. And I get it. Like, you're in Lavelle Edwards Stadium, you're on the road in a hostile big rivalry game. You want to try and take the air out of the stadium early, but pay the price. And I think Iowa State can't underestimate how good this defense is on Saturday, because it could bite them. And they, like you mentioned before, Justin, our identity is kind of shaken away from not being able to convert in the red zone. It's what you lost. That will lost you the game in Boulder, straight up. You touched on it nicely last week. And if they haven't figured it out over this bye week, I think BYU could really take care of that.
Yeah, I mean, this BYU team, the reason they were kind of counted out coming into the year is because they don't have a lot of stud players, and they really haven't had a lot of like stud players really step up this year. They just got a really good group of guys, and they play really good team football. You can tell how disciplined they are and how much they're on the same page in that. The fact that, like, when we break down these games, like, it's easy to say, oh, how good are we going to do on third down? How are we going to do in the red zone? It's going to predict, like, if we're going to win. It's a very easy thing to say, but sometimes the game just comes down to that a lot of the times, because it is that simple. And BYU is one of the best teams in the country in third down defense, and they're perhaps the best defense in the country in red zone efficiency. And that's without like any of the big time recruits or big time NFL prospects, which just goes to show like how well they've been executing and how much Iowa State's got their work cut out for them this weekend.
Well, this team isn't like full of stars, NFL players, NFL prospects, like you mentioned, Justin. It's a really good team, and I think there are some players to highlight and take note of. So let's transition that into our players to watch. We do it every single week. You take care of the offense for us. There's a freshman phenom I think we should start with, and it starts at quarterback. So give us the offensive players to watch for the BYU Cougars.
Yeah, kind of the poster child of this BYU team coming into the year, gets the starting job in August, something like that. True freshman wearing number 47 at quarterback. Kind of hard to buy into the hype, but it's kind of hard to deny what they've been doing so far this year. Bear Bachmeier, like we said, true freshman, super aggressive runner and loves contact. And the option attack that he has with their running back, LJ Martin, is kind of the focal point of this offense. He's not a huge passer, but he's been very efficient this year, taking care of the ball. He's only got 9 touchdowns through their 7 games, but he's only got 3 picks to go along with that, and he's completing over 62% of his passes. The big thing for them in this offense is he's averaging about 12 carries per game, and he's got 8 rushing touchdowns this year. So it's just steady with him. He's a very stocky, aggressive runner, like we said before, getting about 4 yards per carry. And when you pair that with their running back, LJ Martin, who's a third-year guy, he's averaging over 100 yards per game so far this season, averaging about 6.1 yards per carry, and he himself is getting 18 carries per game.
He's the bell cow, for sure.
Yeah, and between the two of these guys, I mean, they're getting like 30 carries a game. So that's a lot of their offense, and it's really tough to stop. And that doesn't really discredit their passing attack. I mean, they've got a couple of really strong targets for this team, but senior Chase Roberts is kind of leading the team and yards and touchdowns so far. He's the big play target for this team. They've, like I said, Bachmeier completing about 63% of his passes, so they're distributing the ball around pretty good, but Roberts averaging 19.3 yards per catch while also leading the team in yards and touchdowns. He's a guy that I kind of worry about with this young Iowa State secondary. If we're really keyed in on the run, like we're going to have to commit a lot of the guys to the run. He's someone that could definitely take the top off this defense.
That's the thing that concerns me the most with this offense is you mentioned it, like in Bachmeier too, like he's not afraid of contact, but then I showed you that picture earlier in the episode where like he'll hurdle, like he loves to hurdle dudes too. Like he loves to use his legs in all different facets. And if you watch BYU, it's, you mentioned it before, Justin, it's hammer the run, hammer the run, hammer the run, whether it's him and Martin. And then you got Chase Roberts, who just makes big play after big play. Like he won't have like 10, 15 catches a game, kind of like Jaden Higgins used to, but like he'll make 5 catches, man, that you mentioned before, 19.3 yards per catch. It's a big play catch every single time. And Jordan Tyson in this conference gets all the pub and praise as the best receiver in this conference. But Chase has been just lights out, and he has been for a couple of years. He just goes under the radar as maybe he is the best receiver in this conference. Not like pro prospect compared to Tyson, but just so steady each and every single week.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show, like we said before, that there's no kind of ego with this BYU team, which is kind of the scary thing about them, because all these guys just know and play their role so well. Like Roberts doesn't even lead the team in catches this year, but he knows when to pick his spots and that he's going to get his moment. And Bachmeier looks nothing like a true freshman. I wouldn't say like he goes out there plays fearless, but he knows exactly what he is. And if you're sitting there waiting for him to kind of make the dumb freshman mistakes that we're used to seeing out of freshman quarterbacks, I don't really think like it's going to come. If that's the way Iowa State's going to play this weekend, where they've kind of been sitting around waiting for the other team to give them the game, that's not what this BYU team does.
Well said. Let's get to the defense. Couple of guys for this group that just overall, like you mentioned, Justin, just rock solid each and every single week. And I'll start off by saying, hopefully I get this right for my BYU fans, and you can let me know in the comments if I don't. But Faletau Satuala is their star safety, leads the team in tackles by a wide margin, 2 forced fumbles, an interception this year, has created a couple of turnovers, and he's just been really, really good. He's another young piece to this defense that just makes you think that this defense for BYU under Kalani Sitake is just going to continue to be a really good group year in and year out. And young guys like that are the reason why. So be ready for him to make plenty of plays in the run game, and I think he could be a problem for Iowa State offensively. And then the other, player to watch, concern for Iowa State if you're going to keep tabs on it, is linebacker Jack Kelly, a Weber State transfer from 2 years ago. He is one of the best in the Big 12. He is absolutely a dude that I wish Iowa State had, to be quite frankly, because Justin, we've expressed our frustrations with lack of dudes on the edge. And he's more of a kind of a linebacker spot, but they'll move him down kind of like we tried to with Caleb Bacon. But let's just be honest, like Jack Kelly is the version of Caleb Bacon we wish we had. And I think I can fairly say that. He's really, really good. He can apply a ton of pressure. He got pressure on Dampier this weekend, and it's a guy on the edge who could scare me a little bit. Also with like Isaiah Glasker's another guy at linebacker that's really good for this BYU group. We mentioned it before in our Play the Fight Song show this summer about Harrison Taggart was one of the leading tacklers for BYU last year at linebacker, and he transferred out. And you're like, what? And he goes over to Cal. And then everything that we read, like we had that preview this summer with Big 12 Mafia, like Mr. Bomber, he was awesome to have. Go and check that out if you still want to check it out. He gives kind of a good preview on BYU, but he was like, the linebacker room is good. Like it's the best group on this entire team, and we wish Taggart the best, but we feel like we're pretty good with the young guys, and that served true because this linebacking core is really good for BYU. So it's one of the best for a reason, and those are kind of three guys to highlight and look out for on this defense. Anything else on the defense, Justin, or should we move into keys to the game and kind of storylines for Saturday?
I think we can kind of move into keys for the game and storyline because I think a lot of that is kind of how it's going to play into what this BYU defense can really do.
I don't have keys to the game much as more just things I'm going to be looking out for. Because obviously I didn't get my thoughts out last week, which is totally fine. I don't think I even needed to be honest. You did a great job, Justin, but there's just things that are still lingering from Saturday or 2 weeks ago, that loss in Boulder that I just can't really get out of my head right now. And I'm really wondering if it's going to be fixed from this group, because there is an opportunity each and every single Saturday going forward the rest of the year that this Iowa State team can still accomplish a ton and to have one of the best seasons in Iowa State program history, but they got to fix some of these things. And I don't even know if this is a fixable thing, but one of the storylines for me, Justin, is I can't wait to see that injury report. We're going to put this out Tuesday morning. I think what's the first injury report? Is that Wednesday? Is that Tuesday night? So by the time you guys listen to this, you'll probably have a better idea. But here's a couple of guys I'm looking out for. Carson Hansen. I expect him to be back. It sounded like he was almost ready to go versus Colorado with that little concussion that he had. So I expect him to be back, and he's going to be huge for Iowa State. But
he needs to be back.
I'm still looking out for him. Like, where's he going to be? Kyle Conrarty. This might be the biggest one. Iowa State. I was bullish on the kicking, on him being out. I thought the offense could fix some of those issues, and we saw it in Boulder. That's not the case, and we need Kyle Conrarty back. And Chase Smith got hurt in Boulder too. Like, so what does the kicking situation look like for Iowa State? Feels like a disaster to this point, but I know Campbell kind of hinted at it. Like, we hope the bye week, extra week to recover. Maybe he might have a chance. We're going to know with that first injury report. And then Dom Orange can't figure out his ankle injury. Like, he just keeps tweaking it. And he eventually said enough was enough after he went down the second time in the game at Colorado, and he never returned. What's that looking like? Did the bye week, was it enough to just kind of give him some rest, or is that going to be another problem on Saturday? Golly, with that run game BYU has, it scares the hell out of me if 95 can't take the field on Saturday. And then like Kyjon Cummings-Coleman, Cam Smith, a couple more secondary pieces, we're going to get him back. Justin, the list goes on and on, but it feels dismissive to not acknowledge the injuries first and being like, we got to know what's going on there first before we're going to make any predictions.
Yeah, I don't want to lean on injuries and use that as a crutch either. And I know this Iowa State team didn't do that in the bye. It's not really in Campbell's nature or in the coaching staff nature to do that. But yeah, like you said, these injuries are massive for Iowa State, particularly the three that you highlighted, and Dominique Orange and Kyle Conrarty. We got to get Conrarty back and get this kicking situation figured out, especially against a team like BYU and Arizona State coming up next week. These are going to be close games where we can't mess around with these situations anymore. Like, we've got to be able to at least attempt them and put up a good fight and put up an effort, kind of get some rhythm and flow back with this offense. I mean, let me throw
you a would you rather that I'm just spitballing here. Would you rather have Conrarty back or Dominic Orange? Conrarty getting back maybe means you kind of can rely on the kicking game. You can get into a shootout with any team.
That depends. Is Chase Smith playing or no? Because if Chase Smith is out,
it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
Is out. Okay, so Conrarty. I would say Conrarty over Dominique Orange. Like, if we go into this game without a kicker, essentially, like I don't know. We haven't really seen that before.
He made a 35-yarder against Colorado. So I shouldn't say it doesn't matter if we don't have Chase Smith or not, because he's done a nice job. I shouldn't say that. But I mean, it's still a 20-yard difference between having Conradi and having Chase Smith. We punted on the 28.
Yeah, I'm aware. And like I tried to say last weekend in my breakdown, we're just putting too much pressure on this offense. And if they don't change, if the injuries stay the same and all these guys don't play or they're not 100%, Iowa State's got to change the way they play this Saturday. They can't win against BYU, and I don't want to get into our predictions too early here, but they can't win against BYU playing the way they have these last 2 weeks against Cincinnati and against Colorado with the injuries that they have. BYU's too good on third down. They're too good at running the ball. They're too buttoned up themselves for us to be playing this low margin of error football with all of these good players out, putting all this pressure on guys like Rocco and the guys that are out there to be perfect. It's just not fair. And against a good team like this, it's not going to work.
Let's get back to BYU a little bit for our keys to the game. And I'll let you finish with the last one. Mine, second one is cut the head off the snake. Josh Pay talked about this with Georgia on his show last night, and it got me really thinking. I'm like, I mean, BYU kind of plays that way too, as far as like the Big 12 is concerned. Cut the head off the snake. Somebody else wrote an article about BYU, and they said they have 9 lives like a cat. That's so true, man. It's so true. Take advantage of the home field. And I will say this too. Don't let the BYU crowd take over. It might feel like Iowa State fans in Boulder 2 weeks ago. Like BYU, I might be biased. I experienced it for myself out there in Provo. Great people. One of my favorite fan bases to ever interact with. There will be a lot of ugly, what do they call it, royal blue and white on Saturday. Like they're going to sell out all of the away team tickets get, and there'll probably be more. Like this is one of the best traveling fan bases in all of college football. I know Jack Trice will still be rocking. I know the home crowd's going to sell out and be great, but don't let BYU's fan base kind of linger around and make their own chants and get all excited in your home stadium. Like, jump on them early, take advantage, get a turnover. Holy cow, have we seen one in so long? And I just think, too, like, if you let this BYU team hang around and you can't capitalize in the red zone like you couldn't against Colorado, yeah, you're right. This BYU team might have 10 points heading into the fourth quarter, Justin. And that's exactly where they want to be. If it's like 10-13, that's exactly where they want to be and how they win this game. So cut the damn head off the snake like you did with Arizona to the last time you were in Jack Trice Stadium.
Yeah, it's hard to see us playing the way we have the last 2 weeks and eking out these close victories that we were kind of relying on in a lot of our previous games. I think you kind of nailed it on the head there. I think it's either going to kind of look like the Arizona game. I don't really think they're going to blow out BYU by any means.
Right.
But I think if Iowa State's going to win, it's going to look kind of like that Arizona game. But if they're going to lose, it's probably going to look really similar to how that Colorado game looked last week.
Get to your last one then. Give us the last key to the game for Iowa State in order to win on Saturday.
Like I touched on it earlier, it's really easy to boil down football games to this, but third down and red zone success is a huge.
Just ask Utah.
This game. And the big thing about it is Iowa State, especially in that Colorado game, has just been abysmal. And I think a lot of that is the lack of the kicking game. We showed it in the very first possession against Colorado last week and kind of just how that messed up their rhythm. Iowa State is 6 of 28 on third down in their last 2 games. They rank 106th in the nation in third down conversion rate and 120th in the nation in red zone scoring. They're out of the top 100. There's only like 60 Power 4 teams. That just kind of shows like where Iowa State is. And frankly, for them to be 5-0, to have some of those mistakes coming into it, like obviously that shows how bad the last 2 weeks are, but it shows the vulnerabilities of this team for kind of how the whole season's been going, and kind of goes to my point how we need to start playing a different way and start playing in a way that allows for more mistakes and giving our best players chances to win.
We said it weeks ago, Justin. You keep playing this way. That's what concerned me heading into this year. I know how good you were prior to the last 2 weeks in one-score games, but when injuries happen and mistakes happen, it's really hard to overcome some of these things. So Let's see if they can do it on Saturday. Let's do it. Let's get into prediction time. But before we jump too far ahead, shout out to our other partner at FrostBuddy, frostbuddy.com/PTFS at the URL. Shows them that we sent them the best drinkware in all of collegiate sports. It's getting a little colder. It's going to be like that fall 55 degrees on Saturday. It's going to be awesome. FrostBuddy can cover you for a warm hot chocolate in the morning when it's like 40 degrees, and then they can keep your beer cold by kickoff. They got everything, koozies, cups, you name it. If you're watching us on YouTube, scan the QR code, go check them out. 80 plus college teams, all custom drinkware for you guys. BYU, Iowa State, they both got you covered. So go and check them out. Our partners at frostbuddy.com/PTFS. And let's do it. Prediction time. Prediction, Iowa State, 2:30 kick. Jack Trice Stadium is a 2.5-point favorite as we talk about this. We're recording this Monday night. Really interested to see where that line closes. Iowa State is 5-0 against BYU all time. Iowa State won the last matchup in Provo. Justin mentioned it. I was there. Just an absolute butt whipping from start to finish. But I think that the tide is completely turned around from where both of these programs are at on Saturday. So, Justin, I'll let you start us off. What's your score prediction? What's your prediction overall for this game on Saturday for Iowa State?
Yeah, and I know that I keep touching on this. I don't mean to be really pessimistic about this team, but just I know the Arizona game went well. It's kind of where I started to get really worried about this team before things started to go wrong. Just seeing the lines with Vegas, those usually turn out to end up being fairly correct, and hopefully that's the case this weekend with Iowa State being a favorite. But I think this a lot of these signs and the way the team's been going is kind of giving me vibes back to after the Ohio game a couple years ago when Rocco took over and everyone was calling for Iowa State to kind of turn into an air raid offense. I don't want something like that, but I think this team needs to start playing a higher success rate form of football. We talk about how much we trust this defense, and the defense gave us a chance to win the last 2 weeks. Obviously, they had a really bad first half against Cincinnati, but they stiffened up in the second half and gave us a chance. And giving up 24 points to Colorado, you'd think that would give us a chance to win the game too. So I think we need to continue to lean on those guys, and we need to start playing more aggressively on offense. And that doesn't necessarily mean an air raid style, but they need to put less pressure on Rocco and give him more chances to make plays. He is our best player. We know this. So we need to give him more opportunities to go win the game for us. And obviously these receivers have struggled, but I think instead of kind of leaning away from those guys and asking them to be cold throughout the game and just step up in these really big moments, on third down and fourth down and things like that, and asking Rocco to make plays, get them the ball early, give them multiple shots at it. So in the fourth quarter, when we need them, they're hot, they're in a rhythm, they can take advantage of it a little more, especially going up against this BYU offense that isn't super explosive. Obviously, we're worried about the explosive play, but I think being on the road, our defense can step up big time being at home.
Yep.
But it's just kind of remains to be seen with the offense and what the health of Carson Hansen's going to look like coming into the week and where the status of the kicking game is. So I know it sucks, and I gotta see it to believe it before we go and do something like that. Because I think if we continue to play the way we have the last couple of weeks, it's hard for me to predict an Iowa State W. So until I kind of see the injury report and see who's playing and kind of see what the team looks like, I've got Iowa State losing this one 21-24.
That's huge, right? When you get a third down defense as good as BYU, you need a guy like Carson Hansen in. And I love what you said. I think Iowa State's passing attack needs to get more aggressive and kind of up tempo. I think that's a good result. But if you don't have a guy like Carson Hansen to get you those tough yardage situations, we saw it. Abu Sama can make explosive plays, explosive runs, but sometimes you just need that 2-yard back. And Carson
Hansen to put pressure on the middle of the defense. Yes. I kind of touched on that last week too. And some of that's tight ends too. We got to get them the ball too, especially get them getting aggressive early, but we got to be able to put more pressure on the middle of the defense.
And I think that will also set up Abu Sama for success, who had a really, really good game in Provo a couple of years ago. If Carson's getting gashes, getting those 3 yards, that sets up for Abu to be really good on the outside and continue to have success because he's running outside the tackles really, really well. That's something he's doing well at, but he needs his Robin of tough yardage situations in Carson Hansen. Justin, I tweeted this out. This game reminds me a ton of that 2021 Oklahoma State game. Backs against the wall, even if you want to say that. Like, Iowa State's wounded animal mode. Coming off the bye week, you really got nothing left to lose. Like, even if you run the table, odds are you're not going to make the Big 12 title game. But you get this 7-0 BYU team coming to town, almost top 10. This would be the biggest ranked win for Iowa State in a couple of years, it feels like. I think I'm interested to go back and look. When's the last time Iowa State beat a fringe top 10 team in Campbell's tenure? So it just kind of feels that way, man.
Was
like,
it
this
Oklahoma State game where we were favored? I think it was. It was this Oklahoma State game because we were favored, but didn't we rush the field? I'm pretty sure I rushed the field.
Yeah. No.
I'm pretty sure I rushed the field.
Because I just kept thinking about it. I'm like, man, like, this game reminds me of that so much. And it's one of the reasons I'm really excited to get back in Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday. That being said, I have not predicted Iowa State to lose on this show since Texas came to town in 2023. And until I know more about the injury report, and maybe I could change my mind when we do our live show, I'll play the fight song on Wednesday night. Check us out. I just don't trust this team with the injuries and everything that's been going on. This plays in BYU's favor. So I will also be taking BYU in just some sort of ugly game again. Like, yeah, give me even 21-17. I don't see BYU getting to 30 points, even with or without Dom Orange, to be quite honest with you. We'll see. I mean, they're better than Colorado's offense, but I don't see BYU lighting up the world offensively.
They're still coming on the road off of a really emotional win. Two really emotional wins.
Yes.
We need to touch on the double overtime win 2 weeks ago against Arizona.
Good point. And I think they got a bye week and then they get Texas Tech, or maybe they jump into it with Texas Tech, something like that. I know the game after this is tough for them as well. Yeah,
because I mean, to state the obvious, even with us both picking BYU here, that's not to say Iowa State can't win, even with the injuries. It's just the way they've been playing, like, something's got to give. And it's hard to pick against an undefeated team when we haven't seen that yet.
Well, Justin, we've been wrong the last 2 weeks. We predicted Iowa State to beat Cincinnati. We predicted them to beat Colorado. So let's be wrong again.
Iowa State's also a lot better at home than they are on the road all of a sudden. Well, now,
this year's team, which is weird because Campbell's teams have been really good on the road, and it seems like this team is a much different team at home than they are on the road. So it's been a weird October. Iowa State known for Rock-October, Brocktober, and it's just been anything but to this point. But win on Saturday, I really think could change all that. And I think this Iowa State team has a ton to play for. If you are one of those people that said, when is it basketball season, or this team has nothing left to play for, it's a disappointment. Do I really want to say this out loud? Just no. Stop listening to us. I don't know. Go find other content, because this is going to be the wrong place to come to, because we're going to still talk every single game.
Only halfway through the year. We still got 5 regular season games left, a postseason game.
You're going to get another ranked team coming to town next week too. So Iowa State fans, buckle up. There's so much more season to play for, and I'm jacked. I'm really jacked for this game on Saturday. That's kind of all I have, though, Justin. I thought that was really good. One of our better episodes to kind of go through everything. I hope BYU fans enjoyed the episode. We gave a decent preview on your team. Let us know in the comments your score prediction. Who's going to win on Saturday? ShopNoRivals.com. 2 for 2. We'll get you guys a hat. Justin, anything from you before we check out? And I see you in Ames on Saturday.
No, not really. Finally feels like fall out there. We got 5 straight days of 60 to 50 degree weather. Let's, like you said, we're jacked. Let's go get jacked in the jack.
Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. BYU fans, let us know where you will be on Saturday. We'd love to stop by. Come join our tailgate. We'd love to say hello. My name is Jake. That's my brother, Justin. We'll be back here next week, win or lose. As always, you know the deal. Go Cyclones.